My dear listeners, gather close and listen to a tale of divine justice and magical retribution from the mystical village of Ugwoji. In this extraordinary story, you will witness how the arrogance of a stubborn king and the unyielding support of his men led to an unprecedented curse that would transform their understanding of power, pregnancy, and respect forever. Prepare yourselves for a journey where the water gods themselves will intervene to teach a profound lesson about compassion, equality, and the consequences of oppressive laws. Are you ready to hear how magic and divine intervention can change an entire village's fate?
My dear, sit down here beside me. I have a story to tell you. It's not just any story, but one passed down through the years. It holds lessons about fairness, stubbornness, and the consequences of pride. Are you listening carefully?
Yes, Mama, I'm listening. What story is it?
Good. This story happened a long time ago, in the village of Ugwoji, a place not too different from ours. There was once a king named Ofeke, a very stubborn man, mind you. King Ofeke believed he was always right, no matter what anyone said.
King Ofeke? That name already sounds like trouble.
Trouble? He was trouble. You see, King Ofeke made a law that every pregnant woman in the village must go to the farm to work, no matter how tired or weak she felt. The only time a pregnant woman could rest was on her birthday. Can you imagine?
What? Mama, that's terrible. How can someone expect pregnant women to work in the farm?
Ah, my child, I'm telling you. But listen, it didn't stop there. The worst part was this. As soon as a woman gave birth, she had to go back to work the very next day. There was no time to recover, no time to even hold her baby for long.
That's wickedness. What did the women do? Didn't they fight back?
Oh, they protested. The pregnant women cried and begged the king to change his mind. They told him it was too much, that their bodies couldn't handle it. But King Ofek didn't care. He and the men of the village, can you believe this, supported the law. They said pregnancy wasn't heavy, that if men could carry a pregnancy, they would do so without a single complaint.
Ha! I'd like to see that happen.
Patience, my child. You'll see. Now back to the story. In the same village, there was a little girl named Adaku. She was playful, curious, just like you when you were small. One day Adaku was playing near the river with her friends. They laughed, ran around and skipped stones. But something strange happened.
What happened, Mama?
Adaku saw something in the water. A reflection. Not her face. No, something greater. It was the face of the gods. The water gods. She bent closer, trying to see it more clearly. But before anyone could say a word, whoosh! Adaku slipped and fell into the river.
Gasps. She fell into the river?
Yes, my dear. Her friends screamed and ran for help. But by the time the villagers came, Adaku was gone. She had disappeared into the water, and no one could find her. The entire village mourned her loss. Her parents cried day and night. They thought she was gone forever. But you see, the gods had other plans.
Did she survive? What happened to her?
Patience, my child. 5 years passed. 5 long years. And then one day Adaku returned to the village. But she was no longer the little girl everyone remembered. She had grown into a beautiful young woman, with glowing skin and eyes that seemed to see into your soul. And that wasn't all.
What else?
She came back with powers, magical powers. She could heal the sick with just a touch. She could look at you and tell you your problems, your future, and your past. People started calling her WaterAku, a name that honored both her time with the water gods and her real name,
Adaku. WaterAku. That's such a beautiful name. It is, isn't it?
And WaterAku became famous. People travelled from faraway villages to see her, to seek her help, to be healed by her. She performed miracles, my child.
Miracles.
And the villagers began to see her as a blessing from the gods.
So did she help everyone?
Almost everyone. But there was one person who caught her attention. King Ofeke.
The king? What did she do to him?
One sunny afternoon, WaterAku walked to the palace and demanded to speak to King Ofeke. The king, of course, was intrigued. Here was a woman everyone talked about, a woman with powers. So he let her in. And then, WaterAku looked at him, her eyes fierce and steady, and said, "King Ofeke, the water gods are not pleased with you." She told him that the gods were angry about the law he had made. Forcing pregnant women to work, even after giving birth, was an insult to the gods. She begged him to stop the law before it was too late.
Did he listen?
Ha! King Ofeke? That man was as stubborn as a goat. He laughed in WaterAku's face and said, "If men could carry pregnancies, we would do it comfortably. Women complain too much."
That's so rude. What did she do?
My dear, WaterAku was furious. She raised her hands to the sky and cursed the king and all the men who supported him. She called on the water gods and said, "If these men think pregnancy is easy, let them carry it themselves." And so, the gods listened.
What? What happened next?
A few months later, the strangest thing began to happen in the village of Ugwoji. The men, all the men who supported King Ofeke's law, started to gain weight. Their stomachs swelled like balloons. It wasn't long before they realized what was happening.
No, you mean...
Yes. The men were pregnant. Just like the women they had mocked, they now felt the heaviness, the pain, the discomfort of carrying life. And oh, the cries. They groaned and wailed day and night. They couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't work.
Serves them right. What about King Ofeke?
King Ofeke suffered the most. His stomach grew so big, he couldn't even leave his throne. He cried like a baby, begging the gods to forgive him. He sent messengers to WaterAku, pleading for her help.
Did she forgive him?
WaterAku was merciful. She visited the king and said, "Let this be a lesson to you and all men. Never again will you mock the burdens women carry." With that, she lifted the curse. The men's stomachs returned to normal, but they never forgot what it felt like to carry a pregnancy.
I bet they changed the law after that.
They did. King Ofeke abolished the law, and the village of Ugwoji never saw such injustice again. From that day on, women were treated with more respect, and men learned to appreciate the strength of women.
That's a good lesson, Mama. King Ofeke deserved what he got.
Yes, my dear. And so you see, pride and stubbornness can bring about a person's downfall. Always remember to treat people with kindness and fairness, especially those who carry burdens we cannot understand.
I will, Mama. Thank you for the story.
You're welcome, my child. Now go and share this story with others. Let the lesson live on.